your daydream. Living your daydream. This is what we're all here. Tag Talk Live. It is an honor, a privilege, and absolutely a spectacular event for me to be here with you. My name is David B. Rich, and it's not a stage name. People think that that's a stage name, but it's what my mama named me. I don't know where she got it from, but I love her for it. And you know, it's one of those things that when you're growing up, you're trying to find some affirmation or something to help to keep you moving in life. And I didn't have a nickname or anything like that. And I realized that my name actually had been talking to me my entire life. And it said, David, be rich. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. I put that hyphen in there because it was talking to me. And I realized that when we start to surround ourselves with the mindset and with the thoughts and the words and the people in your environment, is going to help you to advance to what it is that you really want to become. And I had these daydreams, and I know many of you have daydreams. When you're a child, you have all of these crazy things. I have a grandson that just runs around, and he's like everything. And I never want him to lose that daydream. The other day, we were sitting in the car, and he said, Papi, I'm going to change the world. 3 years old. And I said, excuse me? I mean, out of the blue. And so this is what I want each and every one of you to understand, that you are here for a purpose. You are here to change the world. And I didn't realize what value I would bring. I didn't realize how I was going to do that. And I heard it said once before that there's 2 great days in a person's life. The day that you're born, and the day you discover why. I was sitting in an audience, and a man took the stage, and I heard him speak. I felt that he was talking directly to me, and I watched what he did to the audience, and I knew what he did to me. That day, Les Brown changed my entire life. That day, I discovered my why. That day, I knew that I wanted to be an inspirational speaker, to take my story, to be able to share it with others, to be able to inspire them to live your passion. Fulfill your mission as to what you're here for. Throughout this week, we've heard so many different stories of tragedy, the triumph, and the different things that have happened in people's lives. And it is such thing called, everything that I've heard on this stage all this week, it's a term called turning poison into medicine. You've taken something that has been designed to beat you down, but because of your resilience, your determination to win, you said, no. And not will this beat me down, but it will not beat anyone else down, because with this story, I can change someone else's life. And that's why I wrote this book called Manifesting Your DPS. It's the first book that I've written, and it's absolutely amazing. Your DPS is your dream positioning system. See, whenever I'm in my car, I'm listening to audio tapes, I'm listening to books, I'm listening to things, and my mind is constantly going. I call it Drive Time University. It's an opportunity for me to continue to grow rather than just listening to music, because I don't want to let go of my daydream. My business is called Be Rich International. I am an international speaker. Not want to be. Words are power. I am an international speaker. And as I'm driving and I'm looking at my GPS, it dawns on me that your GPS is navigating you for geographic locations. It triangulates where you are and how you're going to get there. It tells you when there's some road traffic. It tells you different things. And sometimes it even sends you to the wrong place. I remember one time I was in the car and I'm following the GPS and we rode for hours. And the GPS is saying it indicated that we are almost to our destination, and we were out in Nowheresville. There was nothing around. And it wasn't until then, you have that voice. We heard about them voices that talk to you. We had that voice that kept saying, something's not right. Something's not right here. But we kept following the GPS. And when it says you've arrived to your destination, we said, oh no, what do we do now? We were in nowhere. It was late at night. I'll never forget. But guess what? Your DPS may do the same thing sometimes. Your dream positioning system may have you in a place that you did not anticipate being. That doesn't mean, did we stop there and just say, okay, I guess this is it? Did we stop there and say, okay, we're not going anywhere? The GPS said this is where our destination is. This is where I'm going to stop. So many times we get to a point to where our dreams may not come true. And at that moment, we say, well, it wasn't meant to be. No. It says recalculate. Sometimes we have to recalculate that dream. So I want you to understand. A dream delayed is not a dream denied. Sometimes you just have to keep working on it, because through that process, your dream cannot come to fruition until you become the person to deserve that. You have to grow through things. Too often we want it now, but you're not ready. My wife and I have been together. This is going to be amazing. My wife, Veronica, is here today. Give her a hand. Love her to death. We met when she was 11 years old. We've been together for 51 years. Been married 36 years. And our 10th wedding anniversary was a Hawaiian luau, because we had said we wanted to live in Hawaii. We've traveled to Hawaii several times. We did so many things and everything, and we want to live. We called that home. I traveled around the world. I've traveled all over the world and everything, and we wanted to live in Hawaii. That was home. Every time we would leave, it was sad day. Every time we'd come back, it was glorious. So our 10th wedding anniversary was a Hawaiian luau. We conveyed it to all of our family and friends that we're moving to Hawaii. They said, really? Oh, that's great. They supported that and everything. Our 25th wedding anniversary, we had another Hawaiian luau. Still in Delaware. But we're still speaking it into existence. We're still speaking it into existence. I had a job offer in Hawaii. Packed up half of the house. 2 weeks later, they called and said, we're sorry, but we don't have the funds to fill the position. Told Ronnie, I said, don't unpack, because that would mean we've conceded to going. We didn't unpack. But then we were on vacation probably about 10 years after that, and we were in Hawaii. I went for a run. And when I was on my way back from the run, I ended up walking, because normally runs clear my head and relaxes me and everything. Isn't that an oxymoron, running and relaxing? It doesn't work, but it does. It just cleared my head. But I ended up walking back, and by the time I got to the hotel room door, I opened the door, and the words just came out. I didn't know where they came from. Ends don't meet. My wife said, what are you talking about? We've been waiting for ends to meet. The reason they're called ends is because they don't meet. Words have power. the words that you're saying to yourself can deprive you from what you want because you're not telling the universe what you really want to happen. And once you make that determination, then the universe can come to your support. When you make a determination, everything orients itself toward your success. I said, we can't leave here without a plan. At that point, we drew a line in the sand and said, this is what our plan is. We had a moving company, we had a realtor company, we had all of this stuff before we left to go back home. Eight months into this whole operation, into this whole plan, we were planning on selling our house because we needed to buy a house in Hawaii. And I'm in the gym and a voice came. You know, we heard about those voices. They're real. Listen to them. They're talking to you. When you pray for something, listen to the answer. When you pray for something, listen to the answer. And a voice said, why are you selling your house? And I'm working out and said, what are you talking about? Yeah, and it's okay to have those conversations to yourself. It's okay to have those outer body experiences and conversations. I said, what are you talking about? I need to buy a house in Hawaii. Yeah, but why are you selling? Because I need the money. But why don't you rent? It never came to my mind that I should rent my house. And I said, I hadn't even considered that, but let me look into it. So 9 months later, the moving company comes. My mother, she wants to move to Hawaii with us. She's been living in the house that we grew up in for almost 70 years. Who wants to move? She's been wanting to move ever since we claimed we were going to move. It's really funny. Mom is an amazing, amazing human being. When I got that job offer, before I even applied for the job, I remember calling Mom up and said, listen, because I have 2 older brothers and a younger sister, and out of all of us, Ronnie was my mother's best caregiver. And we would not leave Mom and go to Hawaii and have her by herself. So I wouldn't even apply for the job if Mom didn't want to go. So I called her up. Mom, listen, I got this job opportunity. If I apply for it, will you move to Hawaii with us? Phone goes dead. Mom, did you hear what I said? Yeah, Mom, what are you doing? Where are you? Finally, she picks the phone back up. I said, Mom, what are you doing? She said, I'm packing, damn it. I mean, she's ready. I mean, here she at that time, she was about 80 years old, and she was just ready to go. It's really surprising as I'm talking these dates and everything because it was almost 10 years later. Mom's 89 years old. The moving people come, and they said, where are we delivering this stuff to? It was at that moment that Ronnie and I turned to each other and started laughing. We ain't had no place to live in Hawaii. We had 4 days at a resort. How many of you would have made that an issue? We're going to be homeless. My mother, 89 years old, my wife, myself, and my cat. The 4 of us in Hawaii with no place to live. We have 4 days at this resort. But when your determination changes and everything orients itself to your success, why are you even considering the negative? Too often we let those things stagnate our heads and we get caught up with it. Even when he said it, we laughed it off and said, by the time that gets there, we'll have a place to live. By the time our stuff gets there, we'll have a place to live. We arrived to Hawaii on a Wednesday. Went looking for houses, found a 4-bedroom house with a master bedroom on the first floor so Mom wouldn't have to climb any stairs anymore. When we checked out of the resort on Saturday, we moved into this house. By the end of the month, everything arrived and everything fit in the house. Nothing need to go in storage because the universe is there to support everything that you want. Every one of your daydreams is possible. Everything that you want to accomplish in your life is possible. But what happens is we start playing games with ourselves and we start having these conversations. How many times have you said you want, and then immediately after you start giving yourself every reason why you can't have it, and you talk yourself right out of success? Manifesting Your DPS is a book that really directs you as to how do you obtain those things in your life And how do you watch those white noises, and how does words have power in your life? And how do you control the access that you have to your own personal success? It's a book that outlines you and walks you through the processes and things that we have. And I have so many stories in there. One thing that I found out in the process of everything that I was doing, I served in the military for 26 years, and I retired out of the military, and then I went and worked for the federal government. And I realized that I kept putting things off. Now, understand, when I met Les Brown many years ago, and I found my purpose, I found my why, I found that other great day in my life, I started pursuing it, but I never pursued it at the level that I needed to pursue it. And that's when I found out that I was afraid to fly. I've flown all over the world. I've been all countries, a bunch of countries and everything. Not all. I got a lot more to do. But I realized that I was afraid to fly. Is anyone here afraid to fly? Anybody afraid to fly? Yeah. You know, I realized that I'm afraid to fly. I realized that I've been holding on to jobs, to things that didn't have anything to do with my passion, to things that didn't have anything to do with the love that I want, with my purpose. I'm holding on to things because I was afraid to let go and soar. And once I came to that understanding and realization, I knew it was time. In December of this past year, I joined this organization called PSI, Personal Success Institute. And it helped me to realize that I can accomplish things within a 90-day period, and I can change my life within 90 days. Just like what Tag Talk Live is doing, this is helping people to get out of their way, to create the value that you want created in your life without those white noises behind you, and speaking things into existence. In April of this year, I retired from my job. I let go. And as soon as I let go, I started dropping, and then I got wings. And things have been happening in my life. Having this book written has been something that you have in your head, but then now it's on paper. Having the opportunity, I'm in this conference and I get this email from Raul, and it tells me, listen, we want you to come out here and talk on stage, and we're going to film this, and we're going to do that. These are all of the things that I've been praying to get me moving. Before I came out here, I had an organization call me and say, we're an international organization, and we want you to be our keynote speaker. When you put it out to the universe, everything's going to come back and support each and everything that you do. Everything. Stop letting the white noise distract you. Stop letting the doubt creep in. Catch it. The faster you catch it, the faster you say, no, you're not invited to this party. They say if you never let someone know where never let people know where your parade is so they don't rain on it. Don't let them know anything about what you want to do so they don't try to tread on it. I remember I was in high school. I'm in high school, no children, no family. And I heard this song called Cats in the Cradle. Anyone's heard it? Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapman. Okay, I'm originally from Philadelphia, grew up in New York. When you're in those places, you don't hear Cats in the Cradle, all right? They don't play that in the hood, all right? I went to school in Massachusetts. It took me a long time to even pronounce that word correctly, Massachusetts, because actually when I grew up, I had a slur. I couldn't speak. I had lisp and everything, and I couldn't talk when I did my first speech contest. My mom thought they were going to make fun of me, so she said, don't do it, and everything. I said, no, I'll be all right. I won that contest. I was in high school. But I heard this song, Cats in the Cradle. And it's a song, if you haven't heard it, it's about a relationship that a father and son had, and every time the son wanted to do something with the dad was too busy. And the son would walk away and say, I'm going to be like him. One day I'm going to be like him. As the father got older, and now he has more time, and he calls his son up, and the son says, the new job's a hassle, and the kids got the flu, but it was sure nice talking to you. And the father says, as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me that my boy was just like me. He grew up just like me. I played that song over and over and over and over and over again because I wanted to live that song for all the right reasons. When I have a family one day, I want my children to be like me for all the right reasons. Now, fast forward, I've got a family, kids. We have 3 children, an oldest son, our daughter, and our youngest son. All of them are very different. All of them are very unique in their own way, and that's another book that I'm writing called Be Rich, A Strong, Rich Family, because it talks about leadership begins at home. It wasn't the military that taught me leadership. It was being a parent and realizing that my kids had different personalities, and I had to adapt to them rather than them adapt to me, and if I wanted a relationship with them. And that was always something in my head, to have this relationship with my kids, but I had never heard that song again. Hadn't heard the song. And so as I'm talking to my son, he's getting ready to go away to college. We're going to combines. He's a football player, and we're flying all over the country, and he's trying out for a football team for different colleges. And then one day he comes up and says, "Dad, I know what I want to do." And I said, "Okay, buddy, where we going? What you going to do? What you going to do? What school we get?" He says, "I'm going to go into the military." Never have we talked about that before. Never in a conversation. All the flights we did, never in a conversation. He said, "In fact, I'm going to go into the Air Force. I want to be like you." As soon as he said those words, I just broke down in tears because I hadn't heard that song since I was in Massachusetts. But the intention was made. When you make those intentions in your life, and when you make those determinations in your life, the universe is listening. And he went into the military to be like me. The last story I want to share with you is about my mother. My mom is a fantastic, amazing human being, and she loved Hawaii, but she loved traveling, and she was one of those that if you say let's, she say go. Her favorite song was, "If life gives you the option to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance." And she would always tell us that when I die, don't want no one crying at my funeral. I want you guys to really celebrate my life. I want you to have a steel drum band, and I want you to do it. And I'm saying to myself, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. You dance at your own funeral. So we had a "Let Me Smell My Roses While I'm Alive" party. Because so often we tell people what they mean to us after they cannot hear you. And so we had this party where everyone bought one of their favorite flowers, and each of the flowers made up her centerpiece of each person that was there. We had a steel drum band. She led the conga line, and then we had an opportunity for everyone to share with her what she meant to them and how she changed her life. And I share that with you because if you have parents or people in your life that you care for, let them smell those roses while they're alive. It breathed life into them. My mom, she went to Hawaii with us, and she loved being in Hawaii and everything. And I just want to share the fact that anything Mom wanted to do, we did. We went hot air balloon riding, and we're in Hawaii one time, and she says, "You know, I always want to go parasailing." And 15 minutes later, here we are together off the coast of Waikiki Beach, parasailing at 80 years old. And when Mom was in Hawaii with us, she moved to Hawaii, we were there, she had her 90th birthday there in Hawaii, absolutely amazing. She had that personality that we were only in Hawaii for probably about 6 months, and she had 100 people at her party there because any person that she touched, she was so infectious, and everyone loved her. On the 15th of April, our daughter was having a baby, and she was in Washington State. Ronnie had to fly out to Washington because it was during COVID, and we didn't know if they were going to stop the flights and everything. So Mom and I were in Hawaii together, just her and I. That was never the plan, that I would be just Mom and I. Mom got sick on my watch. And I had to learn how to be a man. I had to take care of Mom. I had to bathe Mom and everything. And on the 14th, 15th, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call. My daughter calls up and says, Daddy, it's time. And so I said, time for what? And she says, I'm in labor. And I said, oh, wow. So we celebrated, and we had such a good time, and that gave me a chance to go into the room. She woke me up, went into the room, laid in bed with Mom. At 3:56, I heard Mom take her last breath. When I opened my eyes, I knew she was past. I knew she transitioned, but she was absolutely beautiful. And I closed my eyes because I didn't hurt. I didn't hurt. For years, we put our lives on hold to make sure that we did everything for Mom for the most selfish reason ever, because I knew one day I wouldn't be able to. I opened my eyes back up again, and I still didn't hurt, and she was absolutely beautiful. Fulfill those things in your life that you need to fulfill. Have no regret. She was absolutely beautiful. She gave her body to science. The University of Hawaii came and picked her up. A year later, I called them up, and I said, listen, how's Mom doing? They said, oh, your mother's still working. She's still teaching the students, the medical students, and we'll let you know when she's finished teaching. Mom died at 91, but didn't finish working until 92. And she is still working in my life today, helping me to be all that I can be. And she always said, just be great. Thank you.